I visited the 100 Famous Views of Edo, painted by my favorite artist, Hiroshige Ando, to see what the scenes look like today. 061, Pine of Success at Onmayagashi Embankment on the Asakusagawa River, is a picture looking towards Azuma-bashi Bridge through a well-shaped pine tree called Shubi no Matsu. Pine of Success equals beginning and end, which used to be located at the east end of what is now Kuramae-bashi Bridge. First, please check out Hiroshige's viewpoint from Applemap. It is represented by a red gradient. I combined it with an old map of the time and put it on top. This cone-shaped area was the rice storehouse of the Shogunate, called the Asakusa Okura. There was a wharf for storing rice brought by ship from the Tenryo, and at the tip of the wharf in the middle of the wharf, there was a pine tree with its branches sticking out into the river. At the tip of the wharf, there was a pine tree with its branches sticking out of the river, and who called it the Shubi no Matsu. The north side of this area was called the Onmayagashi River bank, as the stables of the Shogunate were located there, and boats were built to cross to the other side of the river, which was called the Onmayagashi River Bank Ferry. Nowadays, this is just the Onmayagashi Bridge. Now let's take a closer look at Hiroshige's painting. First of all, hanging large from the upper left is the Shubi no Matsu. To the left of it, there is a hedge of green bamboo, and to the right of the roof below it, Azuma Bridge can be seen in the distance. To the right of the Azuma Bridge is the streets of Hanyo. On the river side, Yorishimori is drawn in black. The Sumida River is lined with many boats, and the two simple boats are the ferry boats of the Onmayagashi River bank. The small boat to the left is a high-speed bore boat, probably carrying passengers on their way to Shinyoshiwara. The large roof boat on the left has a bamboo screen down and a faint shadow of a person is floating on it. Since the Shogunate regulated the use of yakitabune for ordinary people, the roof boat was introduced instead, a small boat with enough space for two people to sit opposite each other and have a drink. In those days, there were two types of ukiyo-e, first printing and post-printing, and each craftsman used a slightly different coloration and blur. In these two post-prints, the silhouette of the bamboo screen on the roof boat is clearer. The silhouette of the roof boat is clearer in these two post-prints, and it looks like a gaigi is having a drink across from the lord. There were many merchants called fudasashi living in this area, who were in charge of the management and transportation of rice storehouses for Hatamoto and imperial family members. It is said that fudasashi merchants, who later became wealthy in the financial industry, used to float their roof boats in this place. It is said that these merchants often floated their roof boats here. So this painting looks very glamorous. This place was also a pathway for board boats heading to Yoshiwara. It was the usual course for visitors coming up from the lower reaches of the river to go up at the Yamato Bridge and walk along the road beside the Sanyumo to Yoshiwara. It is said that when the boats came to the bottom of this pine tree, they would discuss the outcome of the day, hence the name, Shubi no Matsu, Pine of Success equals beginning and end. Hiroshige's picture book, Edo Souvenir, also features this Shubi no Matsu. The painting depicts a geisha standing on a roof boat, Ryogoku Bridge, and the Ukiyo-e on the left. The Ukiyo-e was the upper residence of Matsu Bungo no Kami of the Hiredo Nida clan, and within the residence there was a forest of shinoki trees, which was called the Yorishimori. They used these vertebrate trees for the New Year's Gate pines. Today, it is open to the public as the former Yasuda Garden. The map depicts this viewpoint. This is a composite of tile prints installed on the Sumida River Terrace and painted by Katsushika Hokusai, depicting the Shubi no Matsu and the Shinoki-shiki on the opposite bank, and Edo citizens fishing in front of it in summer. Since the Asakusa River upstream of the Onmayagashi River bank was closed to fishing, front of Asakusa Okura was a famous place for fishing, and Edo citizens enjoyed fishing there. It looks like a lot of fun. The area around the pine tree was well known for its delicious clams and fish, which grew up eating the rice that sometimes overflowed into the river when it was unloaded. The map depicts this viewpoint. The painting on the left is the Shubi no Matsu as seen from downstream, painted by Ryokayo Shinsai, a student of Katsushika Hokusai. This gives you a good idea of what the pine tree looked like. A little above the pine is Kamigata Hall, above that is the main hall of Sensohi Temple, on the right is Azuma Bridge, and above that is Mount Tsukuba. The painting on the right depicts the Shubi no Matsu as seen from the Ryotei, Japanese restaurant Tokiwaro by Tsukiyoki Yoshitoshi, a great painter of beautiful women. In the back, the Yorishinomori on the opposite bank is also depicted. In the painting on the left, Utagawa Toyokuni depicts plays, actors, and poems related to Shubi no Matsu. The painting on the right depicts 100 beautiful women fishing in the river in front of the Shubi no Matsu. This beautiful woman seems to be wearing black teeth, so she must be a former geisha from the Onmayagashi area with a husband, and the other fishing rod on the left side of the boat must belong to her husband. It is a picture of a beautiful former geisha who has caught a good husband. It could be taken as the story of the roof boat in Hiroshige's painting. The picture in the upper left frame shows Shubi no Matsu and the Yorishinomori forest on the other side of the river. It is interesting that the square tray and bowl are already prepared, as if they were going to eat right away. I actually went to this place. It is about 20 meters downstream from the current Kuramae Bridge, and it looks like this, with the Kuramae Bridge standing right in front of us. A little further downstream, it looks different. The Lion Institute and the Sky Tree are quite a nice collaboration. This is what it looks like from upstream. The riverbank has been developed as a walking path called Sumida River Terrace. The Nameko, sea cucumber wall on the bank gives it a Kuramae look. The 7th generation of Shubi no Matsu has been restored next to Kuramae-bashi Bridge. The first generation was destroyed by wind in the Edo era. The pine tree that was planted from there also died in the Ansei era, and the pine tree that was planted 3 times also died in the Meiji era. After that, it was destroyed by fire in the Great Kanto earthquake and World War II, and the 6th generation was planted in 1962. In fact, I tried to fit the current view into Hiroshige's painting. It's a nice painting, but it looks more like the inside of a city than a river. I put the plantings of the Sumida River Terrace in the foreground to create the image of pine trees, but this is also a far cry from Hiroshige's painting. This was the place to show off their Shubi heads. It was a place for the men on their way to the brothel to discuss their earnest wishes and their successes. It was also a place for geisha to show their hopes and achievements by boat, to see if they could catch a good husband. In this painting, the sky is brightening like the dawn in the distance. Could this be the light of hope? And if the head of the boat turned out well, what we could see was the Yorishinomori, happy forest on the other side of the river. This was literally the place of the Shubi heads where you could see from the beginning to the end.